Well, hello, everybody. It's Yoon Cannon, and I'm excited here to be joined by Zoi Jones. She is a personal injury attorney, and I'm so excited to talk to you today about your journey in your family business practice and just really what you've been up to in growing your firm. So, Zoe, can you introduce yourself to our audience and just share your 60-second elevator pitch?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm a law firm owner, CEO, and personal injury attorney. So I guide injured, overwhelmed people to navigate their medical treatment, obtain an optimal settlement, and peacefully move on with their lives after an accident. So I really hold their hand and guide them through traumatic and difficult times in their life that they don't expect to go through and get them past it and into a happier and healthier place.
Wow, I love that. How did you pick personal injury as your practice area? I'm just curious about that. How did you land there?
So I am part of a family-owned law firm. We've been around for
Mhm.
42 years. And so I tell people that I've been practicing law my entire life since I've been in the law firm my entire life. So I'm law partners with my dad, and my dad has practiced personal injury the
Okay.
entire most of his career. He started kind of doing different things, and then personal injury just became his niche. And so I grew up in the personal injury space. And then when I graduated from law school, I joined the family firm.
Wow. So I'm sure just being around your dad and exposing you to everything like that, you probably could have litigated a case, when you were 9 years old. I bet. I wouldn't be too
Absolutely. In fact,
surprised.
absolutely. In fact, the first year out of law school, I don't even think I'd been practicing for 7 months. I had a 4 week jury
Mhm.
trial, and it was very, very intense. But it was
Wow.
got my feet wet, and I've been around mediations and trials and in court since I was a
Yeah.
little girl. So I've been very fortunate.
Wow. And what's the name of your law firm? What's the name
Gonzalez
again?
and Jones.
Gonzalez and Jones. And you guys are based in California. What part of California again?
Correct. So our physical office is based out of
Mhm.
Hollister, California. It's kind of south of the
Gotcha.
Bay, but we take cases throughout California.
All right. So the whole state. So now you are really the major person who is at the helm of growing your law firm. What have you found in recent years has been some of the inflection points, Zoe, that has helped you gain more legal leads and taking your law firm from where it was to where it is today as far as growth?
Yeah, so my mom and dad ran the law firm, just the two of them, for 30 years. And it
Mhm.
was very comfortable. Once I joined the law firm, I realized that I wanted to establish that growth. And it was a comfortable, just really small, close-knit family firm. But I wanted to establish the growth so that I can have more freedom of time with my family. And so
Yeah.
the number one thing I would say is that boundaries are everything. So time, energy, and people. And once I really learned
Mhm.
that, I realized that I can take this firm to the next level and start implementing and learning all of the things, all of the tools, and really stepping into a CEO role versus just an
Mhm.
attorney role, and being able to do that and move the needle forward with the law firm.
So I think that's really curious because having coached other law firms in the past, I know that getting billable hours, a lot of your running the law firm, of course, isn't billable hours. And then when you're trying to also generate more billable hours, then people find themselves in this um, sort of a hamster wheel of pushing that 40 hour work week into a 50, 60 plus hour work week. So when you say that you were able to establish boundaries, can you share a tip that has been really helpful to you to be able to sort of make peace with that? Um, it's like those competing priorities of, do I work on the business, or what do I need to do to generate more billable hours?
That is a really great question. For us, though, we're actually not billable. We are
Mhm.
contingency based. So that changes things in the way that, yes, I don't have to log those hours necessarily to bill my clients. So contingency meaning we make 33 and a third of the total settlement at the end of the case. So I have a lot more flexibility than other billable hours attorneys in that sense. But it is still a difficult balance. It is still finding harmony between working on the business and working in the business. And I mean, to get down into the tactics that I've used, I've really focused on integrity with my calendar. So I'll
Mhm.
do time audits with my time. I mean, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but really making use of the time that I have and putting it all, building it all in the calendar. If it's not in the calendar, it's not going to happen. It's not going to get done. So I really have built in everything that I want to accomplish into my calendar and having integrity with actually sticking to what's on my calendar,
Mhm.
whether or not I want to do it, whether it's
Yeah.
client work or litigation work or administrative team support, marketing. And I've really found that it's more fun. It's
Mhm.
more fun to do that. It's when you balance the two and you're working on growing a legacy firm as well as
Mhm.
taking care of your clients, it's not as draining. It
Mm.
just and it lights me up more and it's more motivating.
I think that's great that you just did a time audit for yourself, because usually when I step into a conversation, whether it's a law firm owner or any type of entrepreneur, I introduce that concept of time audit, and people are looking at me like a deer in headlights. Like, what do you mean audit my time? Why do I have to do that? And a lot of times there's resistance, going, oh, this is too much, and so that's really extraordinary, a great testament to your just your internal problem solving skills, that you just took the liberty of evaluating that for yourself, and
Yeah, and
sticking with it.
it's not always perfect. So when I start
Hmm.
to feel that things are kind of going sideways or I start to feel overwhelmed in one area or the other, for instance, if I'm feeling like um, I'm buried in client work or I'm not getting my CEO projects done, I do the audit
Hmm.
again. So it's kind
Yeah.
of a constantly revolving practice that I've just really implemented into my life. And I have three small
Yes.
children. So that's a big part of it as well. And it's important for me to be present with them, with the things going on with them, and not be
Yeah.
the grinding attorney working 50, 60 hours a week. I've just seen so many women before me
Hmm.
who have either given up, had decided not to have children because of their career, or they waited to have their career so that they could have their children. And I think that we can really have both. And so, yeah, long story short, the time audit is a life
Yeah.
game changer, life changing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we have the same value and belief around that. And I also still keep a time audit myself, even today, to be just constantly in check of where is that time going and are you focused on the key result areas. So one of the things you mentioned when you're sharing about your time audit is the marketing part. So I'm curious, when I heard that, are you doing a lot of the marketing for your firm? Are you outsourcing some of it? Tell me how you approach marketing, and specifically what's been working the best for you as far as bringing in legal leads.
So we went about, let's see, we did the yellow pages way back when I was
Yes.
a little girl. And
Uh-huh.
then we went probably 15, 20 years of absolutely zero marketing. So when I decided to start growing the firm and after the pandemic, I had to start researching and learning SEO and organic marketing and how Google works and
Hmm.
backlinks and all of those things. And I originally did all of that myself. So I
Hmm.
originally started with the organic leads, or trying to get organic leads and organic SEO by putting myself out there for interviews and like using Haro to get published here and published there so that I can get those backlinks, doing podcasts, SEO into the website. So I originally did it all myself. Then the firm started to grow and I needed to spend more time in other areas of the firm in scaling, since we
Hmm.
were growing, as well as my own client work. And so I do outsource it now. I do have a marketing agency that does we are dabbling in Google ads right now to compete with some of the LA law firms. And
Hmm.
so I do have SEO for our webpage. They work on that. And then I also have a social media person because I didn't have time for that as well. And I also don't really enjoy it, to be quite honest. I prefer to be stepped back from social media. So I
Right.
have a social media agency that does my personal and our firm posts. And we don't
Hmm.
really get leads from the social media. I would say that it's more top of mind, more to just
Right.
educate the community and be in front of our community so that If they know somebody that they're in conversation with that get in an auto accident, our name is the first one that comes to their mind. It's not necessarily that people are going to Instagram looking for a personal injury attorney, but kind of just, yeah, the big picture of things. I think that our reviews in Google have been the biggest, I would say, lead change for us. I didn't even know that it was important when I first started learning all of this. But really finding quality reviews and getting that up and working our way up so that we're number one in Google for the organic leads. And that's been, that's really helped in our growth.
Wow, you've had a huge undertaking for having gone 15 to 20 years prior to you stepping in of doing no marketing. You've had to do quite a lot, to just get things going. So kudos for diving in and learning like a whole nother industry really out there. I think that's tremendous. So it sounds like it's starting to really take momentum for you, all of the digital marketing that you've been investing in and outsourcing to agencies to be able to do your Google pay-per-click, your social media, and your SEO. So it sounds like it's just a collective momentum there. Now, I'm just curious, shifting a little bit now, that information I know is going to be hugely beneficial for our audience who are also law firm owners. But for the person who's listening, because we're all human, we're all going to get into an accident, and many people really don't. I shouldn't say we're all going to get into an accident, but I think many of us don't think about personal injury attorneys or how that whole thing works until you get in an accident. So if you just educate us a little bit here with your expertise hat. Now, I think it's a great question. Why do I need an attorney if I'm not at fault? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, a lot of people think that when they're in an auto accident, their insurance companies are going to take care of them, and that's why they have insurance. They think that their insurance company will advocate for them and do what needs to be done so that they can be fully compensated and just go through the process. But that's not what insurance companies are there for. Insurance companies are only there to just pay out the minimum amount that they have to, and that's it. So if you're not at fault for an accident, you're entitled to so much more compensation for your pain and suffering, getting your medical bills paid, getting your wage loss covered if you're out of work and you can't, care for your family. All of those parts of the case, your insurance company is not going to go to the at fault insurance and request that money for you. All they're going to do is pay to get your car fixed. So actually getting the settlement that you deserve from being the victim of an auto accident has to be negotiated and advocated for from the insurance company of the at-fault party. And that's where attorneys get involved. If attorneys don't get involved, the insurance companies take advantage and they offer extremely low settlements really early on in the case before a person even knows what kind of medical treatment that they're going to need. And they say, I'll offer you $1,000, sign here. And people think, okay, well, I could use that right now. And then they sign, not realizing they just signed away their entire case. And then they go and they have $10,000 of medical treatment still to get. And they were out of work for a month. And so having an attorney takes the burden off of the victim of the auto accident and takes care of everything so that the person can just focus on their health. And that's it. They just have to go to the doctor. They focus on their health. And then once they're done with their treatment and their physical state is back to pre-injury, then the attorney goes and they fight and they argue and they negotiate for that dollar amount settlement to put back into the victim's pocket for having been a victim of a car accident.
And you do all accidents, is that correct?
We do all accidents, yes. So we do motor vehicle, wrongful death, truck accidents, motorcycle accidents. We also do dog bites. So personal injury is having been injured due to the negligence of somebody else. So if somebody has a known pit bull off a leash and it bites somebody, which those are awful situations. So we take those cases as well, and slip and falls.
So if a person
mainly motor vehicle.
If a person already put the claim through their own insurance, is it where they can't go back and hire a personal injury attorney? to
No, so
advocate for them?
you can hire a personal injury attorney at any stage of the case as long as
Mhm.
you have not signed a release, letting basically signing off and closing the case. The statute of limitations for a
Mhm.
motor vehicle accident in California is 2 years. And so you
Okay.
have 2 years to file the claim with the insurance company and get everything started. Of course, it's so much better if you get an attorney involved early on because we save the case. Basically, a lot of things can go wrong in those early stages. A lot of evidence can
Mhm.
get lost. And so getting an attorney early on is beneficial, but you do have up to 2 years to retain an attorney and file the claim with the insurance company. And that's the
Mm.
claim with the other person's insurance company. So the person who's
Right.
at fault. Yeah. So even if you open it with your own insurance, it needs to be opened with the at fault insurance company so that they can pay you. They're the ones that are paying for
Mhm.
the negligence of the driver, and then you get a settlement in you get your medical bills paid for, and you get a settlement for your pain and suffering and your wage loss. And that's money that goes in your pocket at the end of the case.
Gotcha. And how is there an average as far as uh the time it takes to get to settlement
That's a great
from when
question.
you're
I get asked that a lot, actually. It depends on the medical treatment. So we never want to close a case out while somebody is still treating. We want to make sure we get all of their treatment done and we know the extent of what their injuries were and they're recovered from those injuries before we start to negotiate or close out a case. So it really depends on the injury. So if it's what's
Mhm.
called a soft tissue injury, meaning thank goodness there's no broken bones, there are no debilitating injuries, and it's they're treated with you know a hospital and a chiropractor, those typically resolve within 6 to 8 months. But if it's catastrophic or surgeries are needed, then those take a lot longer. But once the person is done with medical treatment, then the case ideally gets resolved within 3 to 4 months. And if it doesn't get resolved within that time, then it goes to the next level and we actually go into litigation and file the
Gotcha.
complaint. We have to push harder. So every case is different, to be quite honest.
So if someone is looking at, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 different personal injury attorneys, how do you help them decide, or what kind of advice would you give to help them decide who to pick or what to look for in helping them
The
who to pick?
number, yeah,
Mhm.
the number one I would say is to look at the reviews and not the number of reviews. Look at the
Mhm.
quality of them. Are people saying what their experience was like, what kind of communication they had, how the attorney made them feel? The next is having that trust with the attorney and building that connection. I believe that connection is everything, whether it's your team, whether it's your clients. I think that we need to get back to building connection with people and not screens. And so I
Mhm.
think that um, having that consultation with the attorney, and if you have that connection and you build that trust, then you're going to have a much better experience going through a really difficult process, and you'll
Yeah.
have a better outcome at the end because you have to work together to get the most optimal settlement at the end.
Right.
And so a lot of firms, unfortunately, don't have the attorneys being the ones doing the consultations and building that trust. And I think that's a red flag. I think that you should know who your attorney is and that you should be able to talk to your attorney and build that connection and that
Mm.
trust.
Yeah, great tips. Great tips. So, just in wrapping up our conversation, Zoe, and introducing our audience to who you are, any fun facts that you want to share about yourself as a person?
Oh, yes. So I am a home birthing mom of three. And that was the
Wow.
three, other than passing the bar and marrying my
Yeah.
husband, the three highlights of my life.
Oh.
um, and then, like I mentioned, I'm part of a family owned firm, and you really don't
Yeah.
hear about that anymore. So I'm very blessed to be a part of a legacy firm and to grow it. Actually, we
Mhm.
have my brother-in-law will be joining the firm this year, and we're just really excited to continue to grow
Oh,
as a family firm.
yeah.
What else? I delivered my sister's baby in the UC Davis parking garage.
Oh my word.
So that's one of my
Boy.
claim to fame.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, that
And
was
the
an
fact that you've
interesting
had
day.
3 at-home births. No kidding. I love that fact that you're a working mom and that you are setting boundaries as you are raising those beautiful children. And I can certainly relate to that. I chose to do that intentionally myself when my kids were your kids' ages, and decided, first I made a boundary requirement of 40 hours, and every year later I shaved 10 hours off of that. So I got down to 30, 20, and then eventually 10 to 15, which was really exciting because then I could be at home when my kids were little, and then dial it back up when they were all, too busy to hang out with mom. So,
Yeah, that's those years are so magical, and that's really
yes,
what I have worked towards as well. I work
yeah,
from home quite a bit, and thanks to technology and the efficiencies and things I've been able to implement into the firm, I'm able to do that so I can pick my
yeah.
kids up from school, and that's important to me.
Mm. Well, that is awesome that you have been able to do that, and that you didn't drink the Kool-Aid that says, that you have to work a crazy 60-hour work week in order to be a successful attorney. And so kudos to you for breaking the ceiling on that one. All right, so
Thank you
Zoe,
so much.
what's the best way for our viewers to get in touch with you?
Our website is gonzalezjonеslaw.com.
Mhm.
Gonzalez spelled with two Z's. And then we are on Instagram, which is Gonzalez and Jones Law. And then my personal page is Zoe.Jones. And I'm actually working on coaching other female attorneys to be able to have the harmony between work and family. Because just like you said, we shouldn't be drinking that Kool-Aid. It's not healthy for any of us or our families or our future generations. And so female attorneys should be able to have it all. So
Yeah,
that's next for me.
I love that. I love that. I can't wait to hear about your coaching program. I think that's very exciting, very needed. So thank you everybody
Thank
for joining
you.
us for this conversation and getting introduced to Zoe Jones, Gonzalez and Jones Law Firm, how she's been growing a legacy family run business, and a little bit more about her practice area. So stay tuned, come back for the next episode, and that's it for today.